Surviving day 60 of the debt snowball. You've heard Dave Ramsey. He is absolutely right. Personal finance is 80% behavior, and that is the only point that truly matters. For those unfamiliar, the behavioral solution he popularized is called the debt snowball. The concept is simple. You list all your debts from smallest to largest. You attack the smallest debt with total focus. When that smallest one is gone, you take the payment you used to make and throw it at the next debt on the list. You are building psychological momentum, a snowball that rolls and grows. He gave you the best starting point possible. You got the first win. You felt that surge of power. The feeling that this time I'm going to make it was real. But for some, the tunnel collapsed. Around the 60-day mark, just 2 months, the effort stalled. That big debt felt unmanageable. Why does that motivation, the very heart of the method, simply evaporate? Here's what happens in your mind when the momentum fades. Your problem is not lack of knowledge. It is a psychological system that sabotages your behavior. It is an architecture of defense that your mind builds against the change you desperately need. Today, we dissect the first and most insidious of these sabotages, the perfection trap. Ramsey reminds us that if we were math nerds, we wouldn't have credit card debt in the first place. And he is correct. The debt snowball is not about the math, it is about human behavior. But your ego, your internal sense of status and intelligence, demands perfection. You hear the critics. You read the forums that say the debt avalanche, paying the highest interest first, is mathematically superior. This generates pressure and doubt. You start asking, am I being foolish for not using avalanche? Am I doing this wrong? This pressure, this need to be the math genius, is what paralyzes you. Your mind concludes, if I can't do the perfect path, I won't do any path at all. That is the perfection trap. The defense is the meaningful win rule. We validate 100% of Ramsey's advice on building momentum, but to maintain it, you must redefine success. It is not about optimizing every cent of interest. It is about guaranteeing consistency. If the simple choice keeps you moving, it is the correct choice. Your goal is completion, not optimization for getting out of debt. The perfection trap can stop you at the start. But there is a more persistent enemy, one that works in the shadows, and it is called the Identity Saboteur. Many people struggle midway through the paying off debt process because they fundamentally underestimate what is at stake. Paying off debt is not just a financial act. It is, at its deepest core, an identity crisis. Think about it. Who are you today? You are the person who, in moments of boredom or stress, resorts to credit for a quick hit of comfort. You built yourself as the person who spends to feel good or maintain status. That is your old self. When you start paying debt and adopt the ruthless lifestyle Ramsey suggests, cutting expenses, living strictly, you are forcing the death of that identity. You are becoming someone who no longer engages in that behavior, and the identity saboteur does not accept this change peacefully. The saboteur will fight. It will whisper, "This is too hard. You deserve this reward." You are making yourself miserable. For your brain, the pain of changing who you are is often greater than the pain of being in debt. The defense system is to actively construct a new identity. Do not reward yourself with spending. Reward the new identity you are building. If you manage to save an extra amount, use a small fraction of that money, maybe $5, $10, whatever is possible, to invest in something that reinforces your new identity. This could be the book Atomic Habits by James Clear for consistency, or The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel for deeper behavioral understanding. You are investing in your new self as a master of money. And here is the crucial part. If you do not even have a small amount to make that small bet, do not worry. Start with free or low-cost resources to build that extra income, like signing up for freelancing apps, Upwork or Fiverr for quick tasks, or reading The Richest Man in Babylon for simple income generation ideas. The key is not to stop. Remember, Ramsey offers excellent budgeting frameworks in his material, which are superb for freeing up that essential starting capital. The first trap paralyzes you with perfection. The second sabotages you with identity. But the third trap is the one that kills you slowly with boredom and mental exhaustion. We are calling this the inner critic trap, or the silence of the long game. The first 60 days of the snowball are noisy, full of small wins and celebration. Your mind feeds on that high frequency. But when you finally hit that big chunk of debt, that large credit card or personal loan, the process becomes monotonous, repetitive, and tedious. The initial emotional momentum is replaced by a routine of sacrifice that seems endless. The applause fades. The silence is deafening. It is in that silence that the inner critic gains voice. It is a master of distortion. It attacks you directly. This is too slow. You are sacrificing everything. It is not working. The inner critic uses your own fear of the future as ammunition, convincing you that the effort is not worth the visible result. The human mind is programmed to value immediate rewards, and this massive debt is the very definition of delayed reward. This is not a motivation problem. It is a metric and visualization problem. You are looking at the outstanding balance that remains, and it looks like a mountain growing taller as you walk. You are focusing on the deficit. That is the straight road to mental burnout and quitting. Your debt payment must feel like a tangible win, not just a sacrifice. The defense is, stop measuring the loss and start measuring the rescue. Change the metric. Every single week you must see the proof that you are winning. Calculate the amount of interest you avoided paying to the bank with your extra efforts. Use a chart that only shows the interest rescued, ignoring the total balance for a moment. Do not look at the outstanding debt. Look at the money you have rescued from the prison. This shifts your focus from the deficit, the debt remaining, to the active gain, the freedom recovered. You are no longer paying a debt. You are actively beating the system. You now understand the anatomy of failure. It is not a moral failing. It is a failure of mental engineering. It is the 60-day trap. Let's quickly review your psychological enemies because repetition is the core of new mental programming. First, the perfection trap. It convinces you that if you are not doing the math perfectly, the avalanche, you should do nothing. The antidote, the meaningful win rule. Honor momentum over optimization. Second, the identity saboteur. It fights to keep your old spending self alive because change is painful. The antidote, the small bet strategy. Invest small amounts to reward and build your new identity as a wealth creator. Third, the inner critic. It uses the silence of the long game to convince you that the effort is pointless. The antidote? The weekly status check. Stop measuring the deficit and start measuring your rescue, the jailbreak metric. Ramsey gave you the vehicle, the debt snowball. But, as in any great journey, the vehicle is useless if the driver, your mind, quits at the first hill. Your focus must be 100% on the engineer, on you. You are not just paying debts, you are actively reprogramming your financial destiny. Here is the final point that closes our journey. The secret to the debt snowball is not the method. It is the mental engineering you apply to sustain the momentum. Ramsey is right. You can be a math genius, but without behavior, the game is lost. And we stand with him because now you have the defense manual for your behavior. You have the strategy to fight back against perfection, the identity saboteur, and the inner critic. Your problem is not the credit card interest. Your problem is the identity that made you accept that interest. Your debt is not just a financial problem, it is a forced opportunity for complete life transformation. The Greek philosopher Aristotle said, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Excellence in your personal finance begins with the discipline of not quitting on the boredom. You now have the final choice. Do you want to be the person who knows the rules and stays stuck, or the person who engineers their own mind to win? The destiny of a person changes the moment they change the way they think about the inevitable. You are ready to survive day 60 of the Debt Snowball. Which of the 3 traps is holding you back right now? Comment, Day 60 Survivor, and tell me which trap you are committing to beat this week. If income is still the issue, keep watching. This is where the real solutions begin for getting debt-free. Subscribe so we can build your freedom together.